Alright, so now I'm going to get into my final predictions for the major categories for the Academy Award nominations. Now, just a couple of disclaimers. There are a few categories that I honestly just don't pay too much attention to, or I just haven't seen enough of the films to really make any kind of predictions. For example, documentary short, an animated short. I got nothing for you on those. They changed the Best Foreign Language Feature Film to Best International Film. Not really sure what the big deal was there, but maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen too many of those this year. The only ones that I have seen are Pain and Glory from Spain and Parasite from South Korea. I expect those to make it into the top 5 on Oscar nomination morning. Same with documentary feature. So now I'm going to get into the categories that I actually have an idea as to what I'm talking about. First category I'm going to look at is Best Animated Feature. You can expect, I believe, Frozen 2, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Toy Story 4, Missing Link. And now for the last link, a lot of people might go with Abominable, and Abominable could very well end up in the top 5 list in the morning of the nominations. But I'm going to go, for my last pick, I'm going to go with the Lion King, because even though the reactions for this film were very mixed, let's also not forget there are some groundbreaking visuals in there. Film made a lot of money, and let's also not forget, all-star cast, Jon Favreau directed it, and Disney is also behind the film. So, of course, Disney is a very big player. So, just to say it straight out, my predicted nominees for Best Animated Feature are Frozen 2, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, The Lion King, Missing Link, and Toy Story 4. Okay, so for Best Supporting Actor, there are a lot of really, really great contenders here. There are a lot of fantastic supporting performances here in the male category. A couple potential spoilers and alternates that I could see, even if they're not making it in my top 5 for now. I could definitely see Willem Dafoe for The Lighthouse sneaking in there. I could see Shia LaBeouf in Honey Boy. He played his own father. That was also a very captivating and moving performance. Of course, Jamie Foxx for Mercy has been getting a lot of buzz. Same with Sam Rockwell for Richard Jewell. But none of those are in my top 5 as of now. So my final predicted nominees for Best Supporting Actor are Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood for playing Fred Rogers, Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes for playing Pope Benedict XVI, Al Pacino in The Irishman for playing Jimmy Hoffa, Joe Pesci in The Irishman for playing Russell Buffalino, and Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for playing Cliff Booth. My predicted nominees for Best Supporting Actress are Laura Dern in Marriage Story for playing Nora Fanchar, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit for playing Rosie Betzler, Florence Pugh in Little Women for playing Amy March, Margot Robbie in Bombshell for playing Kayla Pospisil, hope I'm saying her name right, and Susan Chow in The Farewell for playing Nai Nai. Okay, for Best Actor, once again, another very, very, very packed race. My final predicted nominees for Best Actor are Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for playing Rick Dalton, Adam Driver in Marriage Story for playing Charlie Barber, Taron Egerton in Rocketman for playing Elton John, Joaquin Phoenix in Joker for playing Arthur Fleck / Joker, and last but certainly not least, Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems for playing Howard Ratner. So, moving on to Best Actress. Now, a lot of very strong performances, getting, of course, a lot of buzz. My final predicted nominees for Best Actress are Awkwafina in The Farewell for playing Billy Wang, Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story for playing Nicole Barber, Lupita Nyong'o in Us for playing Adelaide Wilson / Red, Saoirse Ronan in Little Women for playing Jo March, and Renee Zellweger in Judy for playing Judy Garland. Now, moving on to a couple of my favorite categories, the screenplay categories. My predicted nominees for Best Adapted Screenplay are The Irishman, written by Steven Zaillian, based on the book I Heard You Painted Houses by Charles Brandt, Jojo Rabbit, written by Taika Waititi, based on the novel Caging Skies by Christine Lunens, Joker, Todd Phillips and Scott Silver, based on the characters created by Bob Kane, Bill Finger, and Jerry Robinson. Little Women, Greta Gerwig, based on the novel Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And The Two Popes, Anthony McCartan, based on the play The Pope by Anthony McCartan. My predicted nominees for Best Original Screenplay are Knives Out, Ryan Johnson, Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach, Parasite, Jin Won Han and Bong Joon-ho, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino, and Uncut Gems, Ronald Brownstein, Benny Safdie, and Josh Safdie. Okay, now for Best Director. This is another big list as well. My 5 predicted nominees for Best Director are Noah Baumbach for Marriage Story, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite, Sam Mendes for 1917, Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, and Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Alright, and last but not least, Best Picture. For those who don't know, the Best Picture category can range between 5 and 10 nominees. My predicted nominees for Best Motion Picture of 2019 are 1917, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, and Uncut Gems.